Morning. Well, you are joining me here today at the, well, what can only be described as the prolific Albans Lakes near London Colney. And we're down here doing a feature fishing bomb and pellet. So I thought, well, we might just have a quick video recap on what we're doing. In fishing a pellet at Albans is a deep lake. I'm probably fishing in 12, 13 foot of water. And bomb and pellet fishing is quite basic. But I'm just going to run you through a few things that might help you catch a few more if you get venues that are quite deep fishing the bomb and pellet. Shallow venues are completely different to the deeper venues, because you've got to remember that your pellets have got to fall through the water. The idea is to get as many pellets on the bottom, get the carp grazing and catch as many fish as you can. But in deep water, them pellets have got to go through 12 foot of water, and on heavily stocked venues it's quite difficult to get your pellets to get to the bottom. So I'm going to run you through a few tips and run you through my setup. I'm just going to see if I can show you this lovely mirror carp, if I can hold him up for the camera. Just going to run you through a few tips that might help you catch a few more in deep water bomb and pellet fishing. Now I've just had that lovely mirror carp, but as I said, I'm fishing in 12 to 13 foot of water. Now there's lots of venues, commercial venues over the country where you've got probably 4 to 5 foot of water. Now straight away I'm thinking, if I feed 2 or 3 pellets, is that bait, considering how many fish are in this venue, is any of that bait going to get to the bottom? No. There's very little chance. It's full of skimmers. Oh, had a proper indication then. It's full of skimmers, some big roach, some proper bream, but they do catch a lot of fish going through the water on this venue because it's so deep. So I've chosen a slightly shallower end of the lake, as I said, 12 to 13 foot here. But the main thing is I need to get that bait to the bottom. Now feeding 2 or 3 pellets isn't going to work here. The bait is just not going to get to the bottom. There'll be other fish will feed. So I need to plan about that in my feeding. So instead of feeding 2 or 3 pellets at a time, when I feed, I've just cast out again. Before I cast out, I fed 4 or 5 times, but not with 2 or 3 pellets, with 10 to 15 pellets in. So I want a lot of bait to go in, so the chances are is that my free hook baits are gonna get to the bottom, which is where I want to be fishing. Oh, and there we go. Whoa! And the bites are absolutely ferocious. Oh. So what I'll do is I'll quickly run you through the rig, hopefully when I get this fish in. It's very, very simple. Now, lots of anglers do prefer to fish on an inline stem system by putting a lead on there. I don't. I like to fish with a running lead, simply because I know the fish are going to graze, and I know that the fish will aggressively feed. Once they're grazing, they'll just graze from pellet to pellet. I've put enough out there and they will just graze and pick up and move on to the next one. And if I've got a little tiny short hook length, yes, it will have a bolt effect, but the bite will be very, very aggressive. And what I want to do is just get a bite which I know can pick the rod up and just lift into the fish without the chances of either the fish snapping my hook length or me missing the bite because I'm too aggressive with picking the rod up because the bite's been too fast for me. Just a small little mirror there. So now I'm going to quickly run you through my really simple setup. I've got 8 pound mono on there, no leader, just 8 pounds straight through. Now I'm fishing, and I've said before, I'm fishing in deeper water here. So although there are some very small leads that on venues that are really shallow, where you ping 2 or 3 pellets and you're fishing with little tiny leads, try and mimic the sound of a pellet going in. Not here, it's too deep. I want a congregated fish at the bottom. So I've got a 3/4 of an ounce cube lead on there, free running, as I've just mentioned, because I want the fish to pick the bait up, and the only resistance it's going to feel is my tip, not on the lead itself. The resistance it will just pull through. A twizzle boom there, obviously to stop any tangles, as you can see, like that. And then it's got simply 14 inch hook length, sorry, size 12 hook, which is a KKHB, and a banded 8mm pellet. It's as simple as that, really. A simple rig, but very effective. Now what I will also add is I'm not actually clipped up. Now a lot of people like to clip up. Don't ever clip up on a straight lead, and not unless you're fishing up against an island. It's in a venue like this, the fish pull so hard, they're just going to run. As soon as they've pricked your hook in their mouths, they're going to run as hard as they can. Another little tip as well, which I will say, is I like to play my fish off the clutch, so I put the reel into anti-reverse and loosen off my clutch once I've set the tip. Otherwise the fish will break you on the bite. Now, as I've mentioned, the setup's pretty simple, but it's down to us as anglers. The secret with bomb and pellet fishing is to get the fish grazing. Now, first things first, yeah, I'm not clipped up. It's not like I've got a conventional cage feeder. I've not fed anything at the start apart from loose feeding pellets. But what's going through my mind is I'm fishing at 18 metres out in 12 to 13 foot of water. First of all, as I've said, are my pellets getting to the bottom? Because I need them fish grazing in my peg. Secondly, if I feed 2 or 3 pellets at a time, the chance of them pellets getting to the bottom are very slim. There's lots of fish here at Albans. So it's then down to me to decide, do I feed little and often, or do I pulse feed? Whereas I feed 4 or 5 times quite heavy. Oh, I had a good indication then. 4 or 5 times quite heavy, and put a lot of pellets out to try and make sure that some of them pellets get to the bottom. Also, another little tip when you're fishing bomb and pellet, don't try and be too accurate with your catapult. You want an area to get these fish grazing. You're not clipped top, you're not going down exactly the same hole all the time. So if you put your pellets in one hole, the chances are that because you're not clipped up, that when you cast your lead out the next time, or the time after that, or the time after that, you'll be nowhere near your feed. So spread your pellets out in an area and get them fish grazing. It's very important. Now I've just recast that, so now I'm going to feed again. So I'm not going to feed 1 or 2 pellets. I'm feeding, so if you can see this, look, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11, 12, 13, 14 pellets. So I'm just going to refill my catapult, and I'm going to give that 1. I'm filling my catapult. 2, and not all in exactly the same place, 2 or 3 metres apart. 3, and 1 more. 4. So what I know is there, even if there's 6 or 7 carp in my peg there, there's a good chance that half of them pellets will get down to the bottom, and then it'll make the fish graze. What also is really important for this sort of fishing is make sure that your rod is soft. Power in the blank, but it needs to be soft. The bites are ferocious, and I'm sure we'll film some bites, one of my bites soon. But they actually virtually pull the rod in on the bite. There's no resistance, it's a running rig. They pick up the pellet, they move on to the next pellet, and the rod just pulls. As soon as they feel a prick of the hook, they bolt, and the bites are tremendous. It's great, exciting fishing, but it's tremendous. So my setup for today, 10-foot SUV Parabolics Black Edition, the stepped up version SUV. Oh, and there we go, and we're in. Oh, nearly pulled the rod in. Perfect timing. So 10-foot SUV, nice soft action, but power in this area of the rod. I've got 3,500 Parabolics reel with 8-pound mono on. No point being softly. When you get a bite off these fish, they pull really hard. As I said, 3/4 ounce cube lead, and then I've got a 15 inch 021 optimum power hook length, and on the business end I've got a size 12 KKHB with a banded 8mm pellet. Match the hatch, as they say. But what I also will say, especially pellet fishing, always have a variation of bait. I have on my side tray a bait box here with all different size and coloured pellets, because sometimes a change of pellet makes a massive difference. Even a sinking bandom. I've got a range of different colour bandoms here, which are also a fantastic way. Sometimes I've been fishing bomb and pellet and I can't get a proper bite on a pellet. Put on a 10mm bandom and the fish just pull the rod in really quickly. So variation is key when you're fishing a bomb and pellet. Yeah, we all want to try and catch on an 8mm banded pellet if we're feeding 8mm, but sometimes that's not the case. So be prepared to chop and change a bit. Oh, and there we go, guys. Fitting end to a fantastic 4 to 5 hours here at Albans Lakes. The rain's starting to set in a little bit now, which isn't too good for the cameras, I'm afraid. But we've had a fantastic day. Just to summarise what we've done, we fished bob and pellet. It's got stronger and stronger as the day's gone on. I would say I've probably got 27, 28 carp now. Well over £100 if you want to put it like that, guys. But it's really important that you keep feeding. You find normally in bomb and pellet sessions that after 2 or 3 hours the fish will settle. There's enough bait on the bottom to get for a lot of carp to come in. They'll start to graze, and then it's easier to pick them off. I say chopping and changing your hook bait, adding a little bit of flavour to your hook bait, putting a wafter on, putting a bottom bait boilie on, a different colour pellet, all them little things that you need to have in your armoury. Just do something a little bit different every now and again. We all love to match the hatch, but every now and again you just got to do something a little bit different. But it has been a fantastic day. I finish off with a lovely comment. Oh, angry one at that. Oh, it's really important to make sure that the tackle that you're fishing with is right. The SUV I've used today in 10 foot has been fantastic. There's plenty of power in this area of the rod, but as you can see, super soft. I'm not going to tempt fate by saying that it doesn't normally pull the hooks, which it doesn't, hence reason why we fish with softer rods, because the bites are aggressive, and when you pick off grazing fish they fight mad, and Albans is well known for its fighting fish. So nice soft rods, make sure you're gunned up properly, sensible hooks, decent reel lines, and just keep feeding. And if we can get this one in, this is my last fish of the day, and this looks like quite a decent fish actually. So if I get it in, I'll try and hold it up for you. I mean, the action in this rod is superb. Yeah, it's a nice common. Probably, oh, there we go, in the side of the mouth. Come on, girl. There we go, beautiful. And that is what they say is a wrap. So I'll just get that hook out. There we go. I'm not going to drop that in the water, because if I drop that in the water I might have a fish take that down the edge, so because there's that many fish in here. So I'm just going to hook that up, hold this fish up. Oh, and there we go, guys. Thanks for watching, and enjoy your bomb and pellet fishing. Bye for now.